Wheeler and Skubal. First pitch is outside, ball one, and we are underway. Wheels up time, 4:06 from Citizens Bank Park. 1-0 is in there, a strike, 1-1 from Zach Wheeler, who is now 35 years old, former first-round pick of the Giants, actually. He was traded a couple years into his professional career to the Mets for Carlos Beltran. As there's a curveball, 2-1, but he'll feature a couple of different breaking balls.
He does, and he's got a lot going for him. He's got great extension and that low arm angle, so he drops down and almost the ball is kind of upshooting. Plus, he's got 6 different pitches.
On the ground, second base and through. It's a knock. So that already beats the odds. Both these pitchers typically don't give up a base runner per inning. And here's the defense behind Zach Wheeler. Weston Wilson, who finished the game at first base last night. Bader gets his first start as a Philly, and Castellanos. Kemp and Turner on the left side. Sosa and Harper on the right. And JT Realmuto once again has the dish for Philadelphia, who is in first place by a half game. The Mets are just starting against San Francisco. Tigers are 8 clear of Cleveland. There's strike 1 on Torres.
Yeah, and Zach, those 6 pitches, he'll throw the sinker, 4-seam, and sweeper mainly to the right-handers, and then the 4-seam, curveball, cutter, and split finger to left-handers.
He's so dangerous with that breaking stuff on 2 strikes, especially to righty hitters.
Yeah, and you just see a perfect example of, in this at-bat, that diagonal or that seesaw where it's that up and in and down and away. So up and in with the sinker and then down and away with the sweeper.
And then on the corner, strike 3. It's a fastball. You have to guard against the breaking stuff and paint with a fastball.
And that's one of those things that, again, Gleyber Torres will just put that away and know exactly how Zach Wheeler went after him in this at-bat and then say, okay, the second time I'm going to remember that, and then just see if he changes it up or if he tries to attack him the same way.
Let's see how he throws Kerry Carpenter, who's been on a rampage since coming back. It's a first-pitch curveball. Not much of a surprise there that Kerry would see a spinner on the first pitch.
No, and, I think the same thing, just I'm going to try to get me over curveball, but that wasn't even a get me over. That was just a nasty, high spin, drop off a table, 12-6 curveball.
That one bends outside. 1 ball, 1 strike on Carpenter, who's slugged .571 on fastballs this year. That's a large number. The breaking ball slug at .533 is pretty tall as well. There is that splitter lurking behind some door here for Wheeler against left-handers as well.
Exactly. Kerry can cover all these pitches if you think about it. That split finger down in the strike zone, curveball down in the strike zone where he gets underneath it, and also Zach Wheeler throws that high 4-seam fastball that we've seen Kerry hammer too.
Zach Wheeler is really a man of this era and the previous era. This era specifically because he's one of those guys that gets so many pitches up near 10%. You just have to think about it enough on the scouting report, especially the left-handers.
Right. Yeah, that's the thing that makes him so tough, too, is right-handers, you always think, I'm going to get those right-handers out. Right on right. I only need about 3 pitches to them. The left-handers, you got to be a little bit more creative, depending upon who's standing in that box, and he's got all the pitches to handle that.
Strike 3, nasty yacker from Wheeler to Carpenter. Bookend breaking balls.
Yeah, and again, it's just so hard because of that almost sidearm arm angle, so some of those fastballs that he was showing kind of had that upshoot to him, just kind of like he's almost throwing them uphill towards you. And then that ball comes out of his hand and looks like it might carry up and then changes course and goes down. That fastball, see how it just kind of rides up like that to the left-handed hitter?
That's exactly what Zach McKinstry described to me before the game. Is number 1, the upshoot on the fastball there and the delivery. Number 2, the way he extends his arm, Zach said, away from his body. You kind of can't look at both. He said you can't see the arm and the body, so you have to follow the the delivery of the ball, but there's a separation because of that whip action.
It's whip.
From his body, from the arm proper.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that I look at where he generates all of that power. And plus, it's what, a 7-foot 3-inch extension, so it's jumping on you a lot quicker, too.
I feel like every pitcher that's on the mound nowadays, we're like, man, he's got great extension.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's got, top 10 percentile extension in Major League Baseball, but he's top 4% in getting the ball on you quickly. 2-1, and Riley takes a pinpoint cutter, 2-2. He's throwing fastball, curveball, then he mixes in a cutter that is just a bullseye.
And it's just different enough from everything else he throws, too. It's just got a different, tiny little wrinkle to it.
That's away. 3 balls and 2 strikes. His last 3 starts here. 10-plus strikeouts. No walks in this building specifically. Control's been a little hazy on the road. 3-2. It's a sweeper, and he strikes out the side. Your move, Terry. Lefties in because of their birth certificates.
I still like Tarek's changeup against those guys, and I think Tarek won't shy away from throwing it to both those lefties either.
You wouldn't imagine so. He's our Wallside Windows starting pitcher, that 2.09 ERA that leads the American League. His fielding independent pitching, which is where you try to take out the luck, right? So it's walks and strikeouts and home runs and things that are less about fortune, is actually under 2. He's actually been a little bit unlucky so far this year, which is shocking.
No, I can see a lot of those little doinks and little rollers out there, in front of home plate. But Tarek, I mean, as good as Zach Wheeler has been, and he's been tremendous, Scooble's been even better. And Tarek leads the league in winning percentage, ERA, whip, fewest walks per 9 innings, and strikeouts per 9 innings. And you talk to some of the players, and this is the matchup they get excited about. They can't wait to be a part of this.
No, and you think about both of them and their trajectory. Wheeler's a little bit different. He was part of that young rotation for the Mets.
Yep.
Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard. Tarek Scooble's kind of been off on an island, preparing himself for these big moments, almost under the surface. Strike 3, but everybody in Major League Baseball knows Tarek Scooble's name now.
Absolutely, and look at that. I just saw what Zach Wheeler did. You know what? And I'm going to come right at you and right out of the chute, 98, right down the middle. Just challenges them. But the biggest thing about Tarek Scooble and why he can do that is because he's constantly throwing strike one and constantly ahead in the count.
First pitch here. That's strike one. It's a slider to Kyle Schwarber, and it will be really intriguing to draw our attention to how he pitches these lefties back to back.
You know, and I kept thinking about that slider too today, because he doesn't throw a great deal of them, but how is he going to incorporate it? Starts him off with one and gets ahead. Again, nothing new. Throws that first pitch strike.
Lefties, for the most part, see fastballs from Skubal. Like that one, strike three. Every out in the game so far, 5 deep, is a strikeout.
I mean, this is just good morning, good afternoon, good night. I mean, just 3 pitches.
Nobody would ever go for it at the All-Star game because of the risk of injury, right? People even talk about messing up their swings for the home run derby, although Schwarber said the opposite. As Skubal goes against Harper, that could have been called a strike. Certainly, I would just love to see an accuracy test between Skubal, Wheeler, some of the other top-flight pitchers in Major League Baseball, and watch them dance around the strike zone from 60 feet, 6 inches away. That's a base hit. Harper, who was ejected last night, pulls the ripcord on a first-inning single here this afternoon.
That's a pretty good example right there from the first pitch being called the ball, and then Tarek just comes in and just right after him, and Bryce Harper just kind of figuring that he might see another fastball and just kind of stays on it pretty long, inside outs it right where Javi Baez would have played if he wasn't shifted up the middle.
Which you get more outs from than you give away base hits.
Absolutely, no question.
There's Real Muto taking a two-seamer inside, ball one. 19 doubles for Real Muto. Part of a top 10 slugging offense in Major League Baseball for Philadelphia. That one squats on the inside corner, 1-1. Both these pitchers are very good course correctors. When they see the ship starting to waver a bit, right back in the strike zone. Get me a strike. Get ahead of a hitter. 1-2.
And of course, we know Tarek, you know, just how much he hates walking people. And it's just in that DNA of his, you know, just... And the challenge of going up against some of these lineups too, you know, and it's like, okay, maybe he has to make a correction in his delivery, but I mean, he is not going to be shy about throwing strikes and challenging these hitters.
No, he's not. Changeup does end Real Muto. The 9th game this year with 6 strikeouts in the first inning.
all of us either grew up and even some people prefer, and so when you see it on the app or you see it, if anybody gets a real newspaper anymore, it doesn't matter the pitching matchup when you can the schedule can line up two big boys.
That was yesterday from A.J. Hinch. Our all-state good hands today is the left hand of Tarek Skubal, the right hand of Zach Wheeler. You look at how rare a matchup like this is, where you have two guys who could very easily be Cy Young winners in the same season in Major League Baseball.
But, listen to Charlie Morton. We all got to talk to him a little bit today, and he just came in and met his teammates, and he's excited about this matchup. He thinks it's great for baseball. To see these guys go up against one another, and Charlie Morton's been through a lot in his career.
He has. 41 years of age, one of the oldest players in Major League Baseball currently, a very thoughtful guy, Charlie Morton. There's a tapper back to Wheeler, and he is on the case for out number one. To the point of how rare a game like this is, we asked our friends at Elias Sports Bureau the last time the Tigers played a game where both starters had an ERA sub 260 and more than 130 innings. So you end up with guys who've had a great first half of the season at least, right? That's what the inning number matters for. And the ERA being sub 260. Last time we saw a matchup like this involving the Tigers was 14 years ago. Justin Verlander against Jared Weaver. It was a 3-2 Tigers win. JV went 8 innings and allowed just 2 unearned runs, which I'm sure he was thrilled about, the unearned runs.
I remember that game well.
Do you?
To be watching it on TV, absolutely. Yep. It was a day game. It was a Saturday or Sunday. But it got very interesting with Jeff Weaver too.
That is inside on a fastball to Wencel Perez, who's well ahead in the count. And you also had the trade deadline ringing around as a possibility. Last day of July. .30 is a strike, 3-1. Foul. You're not going to believe the Angels lineup that day. There are some real names, but one of them is a famed Philadelphia Philly that was playing for the Angels that day against JV. Bobby Abreu walked 3 times in that game. Torrey Hunter was in right field. This is a phenomenal immaculate grid lineup. Jeff Mathis, Peter Borges, Mark Trumbo, Alberto Callaspo, Eric Ibar, among others, for the Angels. 3-2 from Wheeler. Grounded foul.
That was those teams, those Mike Scioscia teams that just ran like crazy, and that style of baseball that I just love that aggressive. They'd hit and run, they'd bunt, they'd just take the extra base, steal.
Well, tapper foul, first base side. They did have a stolen base that day. Vernon Wells, once Verlander was out of the game. If Alex Avila's watching, sorry, Alex, that was against you. Donnie Kelly was in the lineup that day behind Verlander, scored a run. It was the last time we saw in a Tiger game 2 starting pitchers, ERA under 260 and more than 130 innings under their belt. Strong battle here from Wencel. 3-2, he lines it to center. It's a 9-pitch at bat. He fouled off a whole bushel of them, and it's a 1-out single.
Yeah, that's the most important thing right there, a 9-pitch at bat. Just working that 3-0 count, then get 3-2, and then just fouling off a couple of pitches, but winning the battle too. especially to start off, get on the bag and get something hopefully going, but get that pitch count up. Hurry up and get into that bullpen.
Pitch number 32 of the day to McKinstry here, strike one. And talking to Zach about Wheeler, I was like, real quick, scouting report, what do you got? He's like, from the first time I faced him, one of the best pitchers in baseball. There is a respect from Zach McKinstry and a lot of these guys to Zach Wheeler. But Zach was the one talking about the arm, the upshoot, and how distant the ball is from his body, and the visual challenge that poses a hitter.
And you would think a guy, you'd say, well, Chris Sale, how nasty he is. He throws across his body. So for a left-handed hitter like Zach McKinstry to talk about Zach Wheeler and a right-hander being that tough on him, that says a lot.
It does. And you look at his splits this year, like righties and lefties, nobody has good numbers against him. 1-1. That's a strike, and you'd wonder, right? You'd sort of daydream about the possibility of running Wencel Perez to get into scoring position, but Real Muto is very quick on the trigger behind the plate.
And I don't think, even though Zach Wheeler looks like he takes a little bit of time to get rid of it, I don't think he's given up a great amount of stolen bases either.
Strikeout number 4 for Wheeler.
There's that, again, that upshoot that you're seeing from that low arm angle, and just gets to that top of the strike zone, and you swing right underneath it.
2 down, Dylan Dingler. But you're right. Part of the problem solving for both teams is, how can we extract ourselves from dealing with these guys? How can we get Skubal and Wheeler out of the game?
And that's, you got to just keep it close too. That's the biggest thing. Don't have one of those big swings. You got to just keep it close and get them out of the game.
Rolled to third, Otto Kemp to retire the side. Exactly as expected. Both of these guys, just when you thought Tarik Skubal had reached some version of a pinnacle, Triple Crown, Cy Young, you look at the numbers this year, and there's a swing and miss. It's the lowest pull air rate of his career, so he's giving up fewer pulled fly balls, which is usually very good news. It's the highest chase rate overall from all of his stuff in his major league career. They're checking on Dingler, making sure he's all right. Everybody had a smile on their face, so I think everything's
You're right.
cool for Dylan. But Tarek Skubal, after that marvelous year, has the highest chase rate of his major league career this year.
I just shake my head at that slugging. 211 slugging on a changeup.
It's nothing.
Exactly.
It's like a single once a week.
Yeah.
And he's a new dad again. We'll let him tell the details. We haven't gotten a chance to hear from Tarek Skubal officially, but he's a dad for the second time. Congratulations to him and his family.
Yeah, you know that he's been through a lot these last couple of days, but you look at him and he's just looks like just regular old Tarek Skubal out there chomping at the bit, ready to compete.
2-2 changeup, swing and a miss. Strike three. Whiff rate right about now for the game is 50% for Philadelphia.
And that's the thing about, coming into this inning, he had struck out the side and only threw 14 pitches in the first inning. And that's given up a base hit also. So, he gets all those strikeouts, but it doesn't take him very long in getting them.
Yeah, pitch number 20 of his day registers a strike. This is, for the plate umpire, Mark Ripperger today, this is a challenge to make sure that you know where the borders are. Because these guys are going to tear apart the fringes of the strike zone.
And that's what makes them so good, too. A lot of pitchers have great stuff and throw really hard. But you know what? If you're right down the middle, these big league hitters are going to hit it. So you can have great stuff, but you got to skirt the edges like that, and that's what makes it so hard to hit.
How about that delivery and how he disguises the changeup?
It's that throwing the glove, first of all. He throws that glove out there, so it's right up in your face immediately, and then the arm follows 98.
Right back to the fastball, changeup, fastball, they are lookalikes. And you have no chance. Those last two pitches are Skubal in a nutshell.
But and that's the thing is that all the stats that you were talking about on the whiff rate, this microscopic slug and chase rate on that changeup, and you got to protect against that changeup. And then how do you deal with 98? You're thinking, I got that changeup coming. I'm going to try to sit on it, maybe try to poke it into right, something like that. And then before you know it, you blink, it's by you.
But it's the arm swing, it's the release point, it's the whole mechanic of it. It's the entire operation that leads to just indecision and confusion.
Yeah, there's, that, straight over the top. He doesn't have that big extension, that we've talked about so often. But it's just, I just look at that right arm, that glove right up there, kind of almost like a, oh my goodness, just see, boom, boom, boom.
This is surgery. Who's homering today? For anybody, Phillies or Tigers. First pitch, ground ball, foul of third.
Yeah, you just got to hope that Zach Wheeler makes a mistake. You just say, maybe he'll hang one. Maybe for some odd reason, something will slip, and he'll make a mistake, and you're waiting for it, and you're ready.
Well, I know as we get ready for these games, you sit in your hotel room and you're watching clips of the guy who the Tigers are going to face. And you notice something specifically against left-handers. And that pocket of lefties is coming up. Keith, Carpenter, Green, 1, 3, and 4 in the order after the 9 spot and Javi here. That could come into play in terms of just a little bit of an erratic piece.
Yeah, possibly. Zach Wheeler has hit 8 batters this entire season. 7 of them have been left-handers.
Hit by pitches you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But 5 of those 7 have been in over the last 3 games, and they've all been with that cutter or sweeper to the left-handers. So, if he's overcooking them and just holding on to them, trying to get them inside too much.
There's strike 3 to the righty, Javi Baez. But now here comes that thicket of left-handers in the Tigers' order where that might play.
Yeah, and just thinking, that maybe it hasn't been the case, but you can see that cutter, and there's one sweeper, but I think the rest of them are cutters, and he's trying to get it right in on the hands, and you can see it cutting right there, but he might want to make that little bit of an adjustment and say, I don't want to hit him, and just not throw it exactly where he wants it and maybe catch it in the middle like that.
Colt Keith to right field. That's who's going to homer today. Wow. That ball was annihilated.
He had good swings in that first at-bat. And this was not a breaking ball. It was just challenge him right down the middle with a 4-seam fastball. And that's what you do. You hope he makes a mistake, and you're ready for it. And Colt Keith launches it to give the Tigers that 1-0 lead.
Gleyber Torres lifts this to left field, and an oncoming Wilson makes the catch. This is reminiscent of the homer Colt hit in Houston to get him untracked.
Boy, look at that. Just inner third. Real Muto was set up on the outer third of the plate, hoping for that just upshoot tailing away from Colt Keith fastball. And that one caught the inner third and just got underneath it. Line drive into those right field seats.
But to your point, I know you were talking specifically breaking balls, but if your command to left-handers has gotten a little bit hazy on you, that's the type of thing that can happen.
Yeah, exactly. Where you're saying, you know what, I've been inside a lot on these lefties. I do not want to get in there. I do not want to hit them. And so you just kind of sneak that ball over the middle of the plate or inner third of the plate a little bit. Doesn't have to be a cutter or breaking ball, but if you miss with it over the inner third, some damage can be done.
And it was. There, the splitter pops out from Wheeler to Carpenter as the Tigers have gone bombs away with the home run ball in this series. The 3-run shot from Gleyber Torres. Wenzel had the 4th run with a homer. And this is a towering fly ball right field. Castellanos back at the track and the wall. And this is out of here. The lefties go yard twice. And it's 2-0 Tigers. One guy's having fun. Everybody else quiet around him. Kerry Carpenter is feeling it since coming back.
Yep, left that breaking ball alone. And, just thinking through this, I'm a little nervous about coming inside with those breaking balls, and so he's throwing more four-seamers. And that four-seamer at the top of the strike zone to the left-handed hitters, both of them up just enough. Kerry Carpenter with the high four-seamer and smashes it.
But that's the type of pitch. If he's going to do that, this can change the scouting report on Kerry Carpenter.
There it is, that top of that strike zone that we talk about. He can get underneath the breaking ball, but that's why he swings at those pitches up there, because he can drive them. He can hit them out to left center. He can hit them out to left field, and then obviously to the pole side.
Six hits since he's come back from the injured list. Kerry Carpenter transforms this lineup.
Absolutely he does. And, I think Tarek Skubal does too. I mean, that lineup is super excited to see what he's doing and how he's dominating out there on the mound. The guys want to back him by getting them some runs.
Wheeler tested that two-seamer. It didn't have enough run. He's already over 50 pitches here in the third. Two and two. Right at second base, and Sosa. 777.
History. You'd think it's somewhere along the line they would match up, but man, that's amazing.
Look at the other events in September of 1912. Talk about remember a guy. Casey Stengel debuted in center. Harry Houdini, master escapist, was still performing, and it was his first escape from that water cell thing that he did. As the 1-2 is fouled away. And W.C. Handy, Won't You Look Down Over Me. Also on the list. Scuba wants a new baseball. Back in those days, early on in Major League Baseball, they'd play with one ball. So like in the 1800s, they'd have to go track down the baseball in the grandstand, and it'd be all torn up by the end of the game. It's a foul ball for Scuba.
Please return it to Section 1 and get your free snow cone.
Yeah, exactly. Snow cone will cost you 8 cents. But if you brought the ball back to the field of play, you're going to have to give up your nickel and 3 pennies. 1-2. Little tapper is the most contact we've seen today for Philadelphia. That's the first non-strikeout out. One away. Edmundo Sosa leads the Phillies in exit velocity so far.
I just really, you watch Dylan Dingler, how he goes about this ball too, and it looks to me like he pushes it right into the ground so he's not going to fumble it. You know, he kind of grabs it on top, pushes it down so it goes right up into his fingertips. You know, if you try to grab it, sometimes you'll grab it and it'll slip out of your hand, but you get right on top of it, push it down, gets right up into the palm of your hand, and you can go up and make that good throw.
Most exit velocity on an out is what I was referring to, by the way. There was the base hit for Harper back in the first inning, but it's the only non-strikeout out that's been contacted as the 0-1 is low, ball and a strike.
He is 54 off the bat. He smoked.
Yeah. You do that in a school zone, you're getting pulled over.
You know, yeah, you are.
It's fast for some places. 1-1. Before that pitch, Skubal was 76% strikes.
Yeah. That's why you can, keep that pitch count at 35 and, have 7 strikeouts? 6 strikeouts.
2-1 to Wilson in his second stint in the big leagues this year, and Skubal is not going to like that. 3-1 on Wilson. He was in AAA with the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs a couple of weeks ago, Wilson. 3-1 is grazed foul, 3-2.
But that's what would be nice if, you can fall behind 3-1, or the rare times that he does fall behind 3-1, and just know that I just have to wind up and I can throw a 4-seamer, a sinker. It doesn't matter. I can challenge these hitters. He doesn't have to trick anybody, and gets that soft little foul ball.
That ball just touched. Doesn't have to trick anybody like Houdini. Is that what you're...
There you go, in the water chamber. Then he goes back and gets 99. Okay, I'm tired of this at bat. Get out of here.
3-2. On the ground, right at third. McKinstry slings it on over for out number 2. Here's a message from Figer Law.
If you've been injured in an auto accident, make Figer Law your first call.
Called just in case you had a faulty water cell that you tried to submerge yourself in your magic act. 2 down for Trey Turner. Pitch 40 for Skubal. And it's in the air to left. Riley Green has the catch, and that is all she wrote. Phillies 3 up, 3 down. There is strike one. Mentioned that Wheeler was dealt around the deadline in 2011. He was traded for Carlos Beltran to the Mets from the Giants. And it is one of those cautionary tales. And I know there have been huge deadline acquisitions like CC Sabathia. They still talk about him in Milwaukee. Randy Johnson has been a huge deadline acquisition. Justin Verlander for the Astros in the past. So there have been very notable players who have been game changers. But there is also the cautionary tale of Zach Wheeler, who was a first-round pick of the Giants out of the state of Georgia. A couple years later, they trade him for Carlos Beltran. The Giants got caught by the Diamondbacks that year. Arizona ends up winning the National League West. There is strike three and one away, 6 strikeouts for Wheeler. And Beltran then left after the year, so they had him for a couple months. And Wheeler is now, the last 8 years, the best pitcher in baseball according to wins above replacement. So both sides of the ledger. Right? Huge moves sometimes work. Other times, you don't get exactly what you bargained for, and that prospect becomes a big thing. They both happen. They're both true. And truly, you can't know until time elapses. You can't know about a deadline until time elapses, one way or the other. We've seen all of it over the years in baseball.
You know, and Zach Wheeler was a number 1 pick, but, you know, any of those picks that, you know, people say, you know what, I'll take this guy, and he might have been, you know, drafted down in a low round guy, but you don't know what's going to happen to him, who he's going to turn into. You just never know, but the projection of Zach Wheeler.
That is a base hit ricocheting off of Sosa. It only took Perez 3 pitches this time. Everybody had to converge on that. The white coats all crashed in on that ground ball, ending up in short center, but the end result is Wenzel's 2 for 2.
You know, the other thing is just look at how aggressive they have to get. Now, that ball's deflected off of Sosa, but just because of the aggressiveness in the Tigers' base running, Bader has to come in and make one of those sliding plays or try to come up with it, because it's not out of the question that Wenzel is not going to turn it on and try to get to second base on that. It just pressures everybody, not only infielders but the outfielders, into trying to hurry up and get that ball in.
Tigers now have had a base runner in every inning so far against Wheeler. There's a breaking ball for a strike on McKinstry. Z-Back struck out on 4 back in the second inning. Even one day after the deadline, you see Tigers don't hold the lead. Joan Duran comes in, closes down a game for Philadelphia. Then you see what happened to the Yankees last night. And everybody they went and got did not have a very good day.
No.
0-2. Check swing and strike 3. He went around on a fastball. And there are 2 away.
Yeah, this is just 3 pitches on that outside part of the plate. A couple of sweepers that were perfectly located, and gets Zach McKinstry's eyes looking out that way, and just that instead of sweeping and cutting back on that back door, it just keeps going away from him, and Zach just couldn't quite hold up.
He rifles in a 2-seamer that squeezes the corner to Dingler. This is the kind of efficient inning Wheeler needed. Tigers trying to make it hurt a little bit here in the 4th. Fouled away, 0-2. Cleveland's taken a 1-0 lead on Minnesota today. The Guardians 1 over 500. Kansas City is at 500. They're trailing Toronto 3-2. Those are the 2 closest competitors in the AL Central to the Tigers. There goes Perez, and there goes the neighborhood. Strike 3. Wheeler strikes out the side. Ripperger know it. Woof. If you were looking for the definition of unpleasant,
man, that wasn't a glancing blow. That was a square right between the eyes, man.
a couple months ago, Mark had a, by ump scorecards, a perfect game, 100% behind the plate. Hard to do nowadays. All the movement, hard to do. 1-1. That misses on a changeup. 2 balls and a strike on Kyle Schwarber. Big, healthy cut, but I mean, that's just below middle, and it's foul.
Yep, and that was a good cut, and Schwarber knew, okay, you know what, I'm going to get a fastball here. One of those rare hitters counts. And just slightly underneath it, but a good swing. That's there again. I mean, I can challenge it with 98 right down the middle.
Check swing, he went, and he's gone. Tarek Skubal, 7 strikeouts here in the 4th.
You know, sometimes they might hit it, but most of the time, because of the sheer velocity and the movement that's coming, it's going to be very difficult. So you end up fouling it back, and then he just gets to the top of the strike zone, and you got to start so early to try to catch up to it, and hard to hold up, and Kyle Schwarber can't.
Bryce Harper, who walks up to Ain't No Mountain High Enough, hits a towering pop-up to Gleyber Torres, and there are 2 away. How about a message from Rally House?
Yeah.
Play ball, Michigan. Shop the latest in Tiger style with your...
This is Downstairs, Dan Petrie, Jason Benetti, our entire crew. We are so glad to have you along for the adventure that is Wheeler v. Skubal. And Tarek has the advantage so far. 2 outs into his 4th inning, and there is one of those swords you hear so much about, the indecision that Skubal can create. You know how the GPS says recalculating? Skubal does that to your mind over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, think about going home last night and, yep, I'm in there tomorrow. I know that. Man, what am I going to do with this guy?
0-2. Just missed. Boy, textbook from Dingler trying to collapse it back into the zone.
That's one of those ones, too, that fooled Tarek, because of how fast Dylan Dingler was. And he was like, oh, where was that? I got that one.
That's looped on the infield. Right-hand side. 10-pitch inning complete. Torres makes the catch. 2-0.
Third or the outer third, but not quite far enough inside to prevent any of that damage to the left-handed hitters.
Wheeler back to the hill. He'll face the right-hander Baez first. And there is strike one on Javi Baez. Zach Wheeler already on his 6th year in Philadelphia. 5 years with the Mets. A couple of former Mets here, Baez and Wheeler. Javi's year with New York, those 47 games in 2021. Wheeler was already over here as Javi stays alive, chipping that toward the camera well.
It's the same splitter that he got Spencer Torkelson with last inning. See if he goes back to that sweeper, taking off out of that, over in that left-handed hitter's batter's box.
Right at shortstop, Turner collects it. All right, now back to the lefties. Keith, of all the Tigers, he and Wencel Perez, I would say, have seen the ball best. Keith and Perez against Wheeler?
Absolutely. Cole Keith and Wencel have had really good swings. And we'll just see if he's gone after. He'll go after Cole Keith a little bit differently because both of them have been on fastballs.
Zach Wheeler hasn't given up a 3-hit game since Christian Walker did it in 2023. 3 hits by any batter since 23. Check swing, no go, ball and a strike. 2 cracks at it, 2 bites at the apple here, Keith and Perez. And there it is. 3 for 3 for Colt Keith.
He stayed away from that fastball and went to the cutter. And that one just a good pitch, down and away. Cole Keith able to get around it, hook it, right into that 4-hole, right underneath the glove of Sosa.
Colt Keith's 23 years old. You see, first 3-hit game against Wheeler in a while. When Colt is really, when the engine's revving, when the offense is coming out of him, this is a much, much better lineup for the Tigers.
I always talk, you're right, I always talk about Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson following this man at the plate, Gleyber Torres. But you're right, if Cole Keith up there can get on base, I mean, just now you're in the stretch, and now you got to face one of the toughest at-bats you're going to have in the whole lineup.
Torres, base knock. Colt to second. He'll stop there, although Bader bit the dust. Have to get the folks out on 15 to make sure the divots are replaced.
Yeah, that was quite a divot there.
Need a chalk outline. Bader's laughing it off. All right, our Verizon reliable performance isn't the sod here at Citizens Bank Park. It is Kerry Carpenter. When the Tigers have him, this is a 17 over 500 team. 500 without him available. Strike one. That tells the story in a lot of ways. It's not just one guy. It's not. You can say that for a lot of guys in this lineup, but Kerry Carpenter is a big piece of this thing, and all the Tigers have over 500 has come when he is a possibility. There's the splitter. That might be the best one he's thrown today.
Yeah, that one that comes out looking like a strike, and then the bottom drops out of it. He's thrown a couple of good ones to the right-handers. Haven't seen a whole lot of them, but that was certainly a good one. And Kerry a little bit over-anxious there. After that first pitch he took and just said, yeah, I'm not going to do a whole lot with that. I think I can get a better one. That came out looking pretty good and ended up down out of the zone.
0-2. Carpenter goes up to wrench his back to foul that away.
That just had maybe just enough off of it from that four-seam fastball. That cutter, just enough of a wrinkle just to get him off of that four-seam fastball. Just slightly.
Oh, 2. That's a curveball for strike 3. It is Wheeler's 9th strikeout. 7 for Skubal, 16 punch-outs.
Now here's just, for me, just if this is what the challenge is. Cole Keith with the base hit, Gleyber Torres. Okay, you got Kerry Carpenter. Made some really good pitches and strike him out, but now you got this guy in Riley Green. And you might get through him, this time, but I mean, you're going to earn it. You're going to earn getting out of this little jam that Wheeler finds himself in, making some pitches, but you've got 2 hitters in a row that you're really going to have to bear down and can't make any mistakes.
1-0. Ground ball, that's a fair baseball. Harper gets around it. Riley was hoping that would ripple foul. Instead, the inning's over. pitch, odd bounce. Torque has to fight with it and then rip it to Skubal, who gets over there. I mean, that was like Laurie John Jones' billiard shot from Castellanos. That spin was ridiculous. Harrison Bader coming up with one away, and Skubal just laid waste to him. This was a Tarek Skubal museum piece last time up.
Yeah, that at-bat just started him off with that fastball on the inside part of the plate, change-up on the outside part of the plate, change-up on the inside part of the plate, gets him looking at that change-up, and then blows the fastball right by him.
If you're wondering, like, how does Tarek Skubal just pummel people in a corner, that at bat? And it's nothing against Bader. It's just Skubal at his finest. There's a foul ball. Let's go back to the ground ball to Torque, because that was a wild spin ball.
It was, but look at the positioning, too. It's right at Spencer Torkelson. Look at that thing just spin, hit the ground, go right to the right, but he stays with it, knocks it down, and then doesn't panic, and then quickly gets the ball to Skubal. But I got to tell you, look at Skubal's footwork over at first base. I mean, you know, he's got to catch that ball and then make sure that he can find the bag and step on it. He can't just go right to the bag. He has to be in the vicinity to make sure that he gives some kind of a target to Spencer Torkelson, grabs it, and then is able to find that bag and get the out.
And Torque kind of had to rush it, too, because Castellanos getting down the line.
Yeah. I mean, that's just, you know, one of those, okay, yeah, it's those plays that they practice all the time, talking about get over, you know, but that was a little bit more difficult, and some good athleticism on both Spencer Torkelson and Tarek Skubal.
When your nickname's Torque, you don't want to be the guy that has the wonky spin come at you, but there was a lot of torque on that baseball.
Yeah, he just like stabbed it like a fork. Torque stabbed it like a fork, right?
And there is yet another strikeout for Tarek Skubal. That is number 8 today.
Yeah, went back to the changeup. Again, sped him up with that last at-bat, and then back to the wiffle ball changeup. That movement that comes out of that hand and then just goes directly left.
I was taken aback because Spencer Torkelson's an Arizona State Sun Devil. Their catchphrase is forks up.
Yep.
Because they have the pitchfork.
Yep.
So you saying Torque had the fork was very full circle for the folks in Tempe. It's 0-2 again. Don't blink. I mean, this is as quickly as Skubal puts you into defensive mode as a hitter. Then you have to use the timeout. And he's got ownership of the at-bat.
He does. I mean, but it's just constant pressure. And, I mean, anybody can work fast, but work fast with this arsenal?
0-2, farewell. 9 pitches for Skubal.
executing the pitch perfectly.
That's our T-Mobile coverage cam. It's a great pickup by you, Dan. It's also a display of how much energy Skubal brings to his teammates. You can tell it is fun for Dylan Dingler to catch Tarek Skubal. Like, he is brought into a different place to say, hey, if we're going to do this, here's how you execute, let's go. And there's that trust that the guy he's catching is going to hit his spot.
And that's the thing. It's got to be so much fun, for a guy that has, again, just elite stuff, but can put it exactly where you want it. Yeah, just flap your mitt. Not everybody can hit it. Anybody can flap their mitt up there, but can a pitcher actually execute it and hit it? Especially as hard as Tarek Skubal throws. And what was that? 99.
He's just a marvel. He's a triumph of individual work, coming back from injury, but also everything he's done to understand seam-shifted wake and what a changeup can do and how to best use that pitch based on physics, but based on how it feels for him. It's the entire body of work for him from Seattle University, Division I scholarship offers that weren't plentiful at all in strike three. Another punch out for Wheeler. And Tarek Skubal now is the hunted in Major League Baseball. He's made himself into that with the help of Robin Lund and Chris Fetter, who you see in the foreground and background.
And he spent so much time. I remember that one spring training, he didn't quite have the changeup yet and came back, and he was messing around with a split finger. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden that morphed into forget about the split finger, Tarek, and then he just went to work, in the off season, coming up with that changeup and exactly like you said, that grip with the seam shifted wake, and he hasn't been the same.
Neither has the league. 1-1 to Perez, our FanDuel storyline for today's game. We'll give you on Wenzel, who is 2 for 2. It was in grayscale for a moment there. We took a couple hits to our feed for a second. As always, odds and the color on your screen are subject to change. Plus 160 for Wenzel Perez today.
When was the last time that Wheeler gave up 3 hits to 2 batters in a game?
Oh, now sparks are really flying off the keyboard.
There we go.
We're going to have to find out. You're really good at manifesting things.
Trying to, talk it into existence. Yeah. Boy, but you talking about it the last time, not a bad pitch either. That cutter, that little wrinkle to it out over the plate, just perfectly placed. We talked about just both of those guys having really good swings, really good at-bats.
Which forces the pitch count up to 90. 1 on, 1 out McKinstry. Wheeler does have his 6th 10-strikeout game this year. But he also, for the second time in 4 starts, has given up a pair of home runs. That's Colt Keith and Kerry Carpenter with bullets in the 3rd. 0-1. Nothing in 2. It's a fastball elevated. Tigers will play on Sunday Night Baseball tomorrow night, then head home for 6 with the Minnesota Twins and the Angels before heading off to the White Sox and Twins once again. It's lofted to left. Weston Wilson makes the catch. There are 2 away, and here's a message from Meyer for you.
There you go.
How about this? You tell everybody what you just learned in your ears.
Yeah, Wheeler has not given up 3 hits to 2 separate batters in the same game. Did I say that correct?
Yeah, ever.
Yeah. Ever. Never.
Never has he ever. First pitch. Bends outside, 1-0 for Dylan Dingler. 35-year-old Zach Wheeler, 6th overall pick, 2009. Throw to first, and Wenzel plunges back. I don't know if the math computes, but this might be a scenario where you see Perez think about it, and that's what the Phillies are thinking as well. That's 2 throws to first now.
Yeah, the last time he was on, I kept watching his lead. He did take off, but it was ended in a strikeout. But the lead is kind of kept the same. Hasn't inched off a little bit.
He flinches there,
Yep.
and now he goes. It's inside. Throw down to second is high, and he is out at second base. He wants to challenge it. I thought maybe he hooked the bag before the tag. We'll see if A.J. Hinch in the video room want New York to take a look. George is on the phone. Challenge, he says. Real time, I thought he was safe. You?
I did too. Yep. And if you watch the reactions, if we get this, but from Dylan Dingler and Javi Baez, they both looked, and then both of them.
A.J. Hinch, who just adores the word stands.
And they're taking that long look at it, which is always a little scary.
Just hard to tell with the mitt on when he actually hits the bag.
I just go by the movement of the bag, but I don't know if he touches his shoulder or his ribs with the tag.
Here's a call.
After review of the call on the field stands, the runner is out. The play was looked at.
Wentzel can't believe it. Still 2-0 Tigers. first.
It's Herman's Hermits. There you go.
All the Phillies have been the widow next door so far. They've been struck out 9 times before. Check swing, he didn't go. It's a ball and 2 strikes on Sosa. One, 2 coming. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Tarek Skubal woke up this morning feeling fine.
And just flip a coin on which one he wants to throw. These last change-ups that he's thrown, he's gotten in that real good groove where every now and then some of them will cut or sail on him. Now he's got that release point and that ball moving to his arm side down and away really nicely to those right-handed hitters.
On a day like today, what can you do as a batter? What options do you have against this monstrous left-hander?
I don't know, but if I were to venture, I would say, you know what? I'm not going to try to just put the ball in play. I'm going to take a big swing. I'm going to try to do something because if I get up there and just try to guess and just try to play pepper, he's going to have me right where he wants me. I'm going to swing big in my 3 at-bats or 4 at-bats and hope I run into one.
1-2. That's inside a fastball. 2-2. One note. MLB sends us the strike zone box, and there has been a technical issue with that. So it's not that Tarek Skubal broke the strike zone, but you could make an argument for it. 2-2. That's hit in the air for right center field. Very well struck. Perez is back and rings off the wall. Throw coming in is not in time. It's a double with 1 out of the 6th for Weston Wilson.
Now it just goes with a sinker out over the plate. Dylan Dingler wanted that one inside, that little swing back fastball. Wilson went with it nicely. And how about that carom played by Wenzel Perez out in center field? He had that played perfectly, positioned himself right where the ball was going to be, hit right off that blue top of the fence and bounced right to him.
Chopper to third, Turner to McKinstry, who serves up out number 2. But to your point, I know you weren't a hitter, but take a big swing. Like, take a pass at it. And that's what Wilson did, and he ends up with a double for his trouble.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking there when he just didn't hit his spot. And then and Turner right there, too. He took a big swing at it and just, ground ball right to third base.
There's going to be risk against Tarek Skubal.
And you're going to strike out.
Yeah. But standing there and waiting to get to 0-2 seems like a pretty bad gambit.
Exactly right. I mean, because he's going to throw strikes, so you can't sit there and say, well, I'm going to look for a fastball right here, and the next thing you know, it's 3 pitches later, and you're walking back to the dugout.
No, and here's a guy. Balls, a couple of change-ups, 1 slider. Here's what Schwarber has done slugging-wise this year. That's against left and right, and it's a miss outside for ball 1.
Yeah, and Dylan goes out. I'm not sure if it was just to give Tarek just a little bit of a breather, just to get this final out of the 6th inning, or just to make sure that they went over exactly how they were going to pitch to Schwarber, who's very dangerous up there.
In the air, third base side. Green is over. Riley slides. Riley Green made the catch. Come on. Riley Green, more aerodynamic without the mustache. Gets all grimy to finish the inning.
Oh, my goodness. Never a dull moment when he's playing defense.
It's an error against Otto Kemp to lead off the 7th.
Boy, this is just right at Otto Kemp, and it looks like maybe just lack of concentration, but that's just one of those ones that especially that first out of the inning, just clanked maybe right off the heel of his glove.
This Phillies team has not been a great defensive team. Javi Baez trying to make him pay, and he does. A torpedo out of here. Immediate impact. One weekend back in 2018, Javi Baez showed up here and homered off of Nick Pivetta and Aaron Nola. And now today, he's got one in Zach Wheeler's book for a 4-0 Tigers advantage.
Yeah, can't say enough about that first out of that inning. It could be a completely different at-bat, but now you're in the stretch, make a first pitch mistake to Javi Baez. Next thing you know, you're walking off to a 4-0 deficit.
It was a sinker that was elevated. Last time Wheeler allowed 3 home runs in a game was last year, more than a calendar year. That ball stayed up in the fun zone for Javi. With the possibility of right-handers following, and Keith likely to get one more at bat in this game. There are 9 outs for Philly to get. And Keith takes strike 2, the former White Sox left-hander of the state of Utah, Tanner Banks.
Yeah, Banks has been throwing the ball really well. Last pitched on Wednesday, has 39 strikeouts to just 4 walks over his last 39 appearances. We're coming out firing strikes, and with a lot to show for it.
Long hold all the way down to 1 on the pitch timer. You would have loved the pitch timer, I feel like. You would have just, batter used the timeout, you just stood there and stared him down with that nice, like, aw shucks smile on your face.
I think it's very interesting, although, sometimes I don't blame guys when they want that little breather, that little, I got to think about this one for a second. And you don't have a whole lot of seconds to think about much of anything.
Oh, it almost got down to Surfside 6 there. 0-2 is a ground ball, third base side. Kemp recovers after the error and has out number 1 for the inning and for Colt Keith today. And here's your big money encounter brought to you by Menards. Your tail of the tape here in the 7th round. 32 combined swings and misses. Wheeler had more chases, but Tarek Skubal, I mean, that's the thing. He lives in the strike zone and has won a Cy Young Award.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time if before he started winning Cy Youngs all the time, but where he gave up a lot of home runs.
Yeah.
And, that was it. He still hated walks back there, but then just changed that arsenal, and he's just become a completely different pitcher.
First thing Tarek Skubal ever said to me last year, we sat down face-to-face in Lakeland. He walked into the room, sat down, and he goes, I'm just glad to hear you calling home runs for us.
I remember that.
Sick of hearing you calling home runs. Right. I gave up. Thanks, Tarek. Thank you for watching. I mean, he is... You can talk to him while he's starting. Like, he is not that kind of guy that gets in his feelings. Like, he likes to mess around on the bench. He does that crossword every single day that he's pitching.
Yeah, I remember one day last year he came up to me and started talking, and I was scared to death, like somebody's going to get mad at me. Like, wait a minute, I'm not supposed to be talking to you.
You were going to get a public relations yellow card.
Exactly. I didn't instigate the conversation, and he's laughing and everything. And today, we walked on the bus, and I just said, hey, congratulations, on the birth of your child, and big smile, and hey, thank you very much. Appreciate it very, like you can't, engage in a big, long conversation, but, it's a big moment in his life. You can say congratulations,
but you probably could. Like, he doesn't, I don't think there's
he doesn't.
that.
No.
He doesn't. It's
no.
That's not him.
No.
He is as every man, as any starter that's been a great starter that I've ever been around.
To get a smile on his face and has that same look, no matter if it's tomorrow or if it's the day he's pitching.
Golf shot center field. Bader is back, still going. This is into the shrubbery. A home run bonanza in Philly for the Tigers.
Boy, all the runs that the Tigers got in yesterday's game came by 3 by Gleyber Torres, 1 by Wenzel Perez, and all the runs in today's game.
You know what that is? That's glabular forestation.
That's severe glabular forestation.
424, a ball that Bader, I think, thought he had a play on, and it just caught a thermal and got out of here.
And he got back to that wall, and you just saw his shoulders slump, like, oh, man.
Here is Matt Vierling, the former Philly, hitting for Carpenter.
And speaking of Matt Vierling, I was talking to him today about that little area out there, too, where he says, a lot of the times, because obviously playing here, he says the ball can kind of fly here, but that area out there in center field, it can get knocked down a little bit. Well, Gleyber Torres reversed that.
You were talking to him about the ball that he tracked down
that
yesterday,
Kepler
right?
Hit, exactly. Yeah. That Kepler hit that we thought might have been gone as soon as he hit it, and he said, yeah, it was up there, but I knew I had a lot of room, and that's where it gets knocked down. But that one just cut through whatever was going to try to knock it down.
All right, let's play a quick game. You ready? How many feet of home runs have the Tigers hit today?
Oh, boy. Let's see.
And how many candy corns are in this jar? Do the home runs first.
1550.
Ooh, that's a good guess. Nobody's going to $1 you on this. It was 1606. Really good.
I was going off 1600 and thought I'd back it up a little bit.
It's good. You didn't go over.
Yeah.
Nice. You win both showcases.
Do I get to show you?
You
get to spin the wheel?
You get a trip to Port-au-Prince. 2-2 on Matt Vierling. I know you wanted to go on that show at some point. You would have been a great contestant on The Price is Right.
Oh, man. I would have. Yeah. And that's Drew Carey, right?
It is now. Yeah.
You can tell I still watch it.
No, I know. I know what you do during the day. 3-2. That's Luke to right center and down for a base hit. Matt Vierling has a one-out single.
Good for Matty V. But look at this slider. Just center cut. Glaber, I mean, again, just the power that he has. Showing it off to right field last night's into left field, and that one just a straightaway center. It doesn't matter.
He went for Riley's mustache again, but he's gone. Yeah, he went for it again.
I don't care. I'm just rubbing that upper lip. I don't care what's on it.
It's just face now. It's just lucky face at this point. Gleyber Torres is a creature of habit. It was the lucky mustache the other day. Now it's just face.
Get out of here.
Lucky face. His swinging miss blowing a strike.
Riley's going, this is getting weird.
Yeah, man. But you know, baseball players.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to happen all year, mustache or not.
Oh, yeah. Riley's going to start running from him.
Gleyber thought about it. He's like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Right, well, go ahead.
Right up the middle. Oh, beautiful play by Turner, and they will get two. That is a dazzling effort by the middle infield for the Phillies. Fashionably laid back, like that person.
What they say? A bucket hat.
Bucket hat.
That would fit my bucket head.
2 strikes, Skubal to Harper. Bryce Harper is the only Philly who doesn't have a swing and miss today. How about that? Does that compute in your bucket head? 0-2. It's fouled away left side. Bryce Harper, reading stories about what's going on with the Phillies, he's been repeating this mantra, I'm one of the best players in the game. Like answers, I'm one of the best players in the game. And it's almost like a reminder. He's been known to kind of repeat mantras, but boy, when he gets himself locked in, however he does it, and he's not an eccentric guy, I wouldn't say. He's just laser focused. He's an interesting, but built for stardom guy, Bryce Harper, and he knows it. But when he is locked in, he goes on these superhuman runs. 0-2 from Skubal, and Harper takes. That's why this standoff, it's 2 resolute guys. Harper, who knows what he is, Tarek Skubal, who knows what he is. 2 of the best in the game, both intimidating in their own way, staring at each other at a regulated distance. 1-2 misses. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And both of them enjoying that competition and staring out at each other. Bryce Harper saying, you know what, I'm a pretty good player, and I'm going up against you, Tarek, a really good pitcher. Tarek's doing the same thing. Yep, I'm really good, but I'm going up against a really good player.
Each has success today. Harper 1 for 2. The 2-2 is chopped foul. Harper just trying to elevate that pitch count while he looks to do some damage on behalf of the Phillies.
Looks like he's just trying to follow the pitch all the way, just concentrating so hard on just seeing that ball right to the bat. Not swinging it exceptionally hard, just following that ball.
Rolled through the right side. A base hit for Bryce Harper. It was an 8-pitch sequence. Only the second Philadelphia at bat to go more than 6 pitches all day.
Yeah, and I do. I think Tarek just loves those kind of matchups.
Yeah.
And then gets that ground ball, and you see him spin over there like, oh no, it's in right field. But he thought he might have got the ground ball he wanted. He was hoping that it went right at somebody. Just found that hole.
I had 2 guys from the desert.
Those are so fun to watch.
Yeah, just exceptional battles in Major League Baseball, and you can't craft them. You can't make sure they happen, but when they do, you appreciate them. 2 guys from the middle of the American West, right? Bryce Harper from Las Vegas, Tarek Skubal, Kingman, Arizona, the old railroad town in the desert Southwest. That ball is poked to left field by Real Muto toward the corner. That drops in. Harper loses his hat, chugging for the first Phillies run, and he scores it sliding. Philadelphia scored 5 runs in the 7th and 8th last night. The Tigers have more of a cushion today, but Phillies not prone to giving up.
No, that changeup, and right off the end of the bat, and perfectly located down the left field line, away from Riley Green, and just rattles up into that corner. Bryce Harper, who runs well, no holding him back. He comes around to score to break that shutout.
Here is Castellanos. First pitch swing, skying it for center. Veerling is back, still going at the track, and it's gone. Castellanos makes it 5-3. Philly had 2 hits before this inning. Now 3 in a row, and it's a 2-run game.
Boy, another changeup. This one you can see stays up. I think Tarek Skubal knew that as soon as Nick hit that one. That's about as far as you're going to hit to dead center field.
There's Bader. The only thing that went poorly there for Philadelphia was for the guy who tried to catch the home run ball who bit the dust. 1-0 to Bader. That's fouled back over our heads.
Yeah, you see Tarek, too, after that changeup that was just a little bit up to Real Muto, who got the double, and that last changeup to Castellanos up a little bit. Tarek almost is just fastballs.
That's the changeup he wanted to throw to Castellanos.
Exactly.
That's the one.
That's the one that's got that good arm side run to it. That's the unhittable, absolutely unhittable changeup.
1-2. Tarek trying to put it back together like the fan tracking down that souvenir who lost his sunglasses as the ball came in. 5-3. 2-2 for Bader. 3-2. This place is a powder keg right around this time of year.
Yeah, and this, man, they were so quiet this entire game, and 3 batters in, just look at how this game has changed and look at how the crowd has gotten involved.
Tommy Kahnle loosening. 3-2. That's popped up. Gleyber Torres into the sunlight, makes the catch. That's the first out of the 7th inning, and you know Tarek would love to get through this 7th. Here is Kemp with Sosa on deck. Swing and a miss. To the slider, 0-1. The hope was, when it was 5-0, that you could give the bullpen some expansive room to work with after Phillies' comeback last night. Instead, it looks like grabbing onto the edge of the cliff again is the lay of the land.
Yep.
1-1. In the air, right field. Wencel Perez makes the call on the catch, and there are 2 away.
You know, but you just look at the way that Tarek just kind of refocused himself too. You know, that crowd is on their feet. They're whipped into a frenzy. You know, cut the lead from 5-3, but he just kept that composure, kept making pitches, and that was a big out for Harrison Bader. When he got that pop-up, that was a huge out. And then just, again, focused on getting Kemp, and hopefully he gets Sosa here to get out of this inning.
That's the plan. Tommy Kahnle we saw loosening. Will Vest threw last night. Tyler Holton did as well. We've yet to see Kyle Finnegan in a Tigers uniform. Rafael Montero didn't throw yesterday either. If you missed it in the pregame, Brennan Hanafy was sent down to AAA. He has options in this season, so he is the one that lost his roster spot for Charlie Morton's activation. Charlie will throw tomorrow against the Phillies. 1-1 Skubal to Sosa. That's a strike, 1-2. Skubal for Sosa. That's lasered foul, left field line. Well, last year it was about 2 months of playoff games for the Tigers. This is a preview of what you hope the Tigers will get themselves into in October of this year. A long playoff run against some of the toughest teams in all of Major League Baseball. 1-2. Fouled away. He got up with a fastball.
Yeah, just some of those swings that they're starting to get on that changeup. And Tarek, after that last one lined down the left field line, reached back for a little extra to get 99. Doesn't mean he can't throw that changeup, but I think he's going to go right back after him with that good heater.
Pitch 26 of the inning is Luke Fowl down the right field side on a beautiful night for baseball here in Philadelphia. Since 2004, the home of the Phillies, all the way back in April of 2004. 1-2. There's a ground ball to third. McKinstry gets around it, unloads to first, and Torque gets out of the way. 3 runs for Philly, the leads. Passed down in Tigers lore and heritage, the scissor kick, which you just don't see anymore with all the rules in place.
Yeah, but how about the nickname?
The Tabasco Kid.
Yes, Tabasco Kid.
Amazing.
Isn't that great?
It's so good. Strom is on for Wheeler. So first Tanner Banks and then Strom. The lefties are coming out of the woodwork for Rob Thompson. Our wall side windows pitching change is Strom, who throws a combo of fastballs and sliders, and he gets inside there on Torkelson, who skies it to second, and Sosa. Here's a message from Tiger Law.
You want Tiger Law on your side when you've been injured in an auto accident. For over
Daniela Bruce downstairs, Dan Petrie, Jason Benetti. We are glad to have you for Tigers baseball this afternoon. Tigers trying to even this series against Philadelphia. And Wencel Perez looking to build on a 3-for-3 afternoon.
Strom's on one of those scoreless streaks. Season best 10 games hasn't been scored on since June 29th, and that's what they're looking for in this one after getting that 3 spot in the bottom of the 7th.
Wencel Perez looking for his second 4-hit game of his major league career. Against the aforementioned Strom on a heater. And there is a heater for strike 3. 2 away. Tigers trying to play keep away from this Phillies offense, at least for a moment, as Will Vest is getting loose once again. Canely was up, and you wonder if Canely was insurance for the bottom of the order in case Skubal couldn't work himself out of that 7th. And now with Vest getting loose, it looks like it would be him for the 8th. McKinstry flicks this foul left side.
And the bench is heavily suited with left-handers with Stott, Marsh, and Kepler. Should Rob Thompson want to send up any lefties against the right-handed Vest?
Good strike from Strom. You see how he's been effective, tickling that outside corner with that sinker.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is deceptive motion, too. A lot of arms, legs.
And locks.
Lots of locks.
Fouled away. Still 1-2. He and Brandon Marsh lead the team in locks.
Yeah.
See, that's what I love about baseball, though. It's all different looks, all different people. Riley Green's had 4 different looks in the last week. Check swing and a little piece of it. That's foul. Yet another tight ball game for the Tigers after 3 walkovers basically against Arizona. There was some separation most of that series for this Tigers team, but this is the type of game you're going to have in the playoffs.
And you're going to have to win them on the road. And this is what's good. And that was another conversation Matt Beardley and I were having today, just about how wonderful this is for everybody to experience this before you even get into the postseason. You know, going up against a good team in front of a big, loud crowd. And how do you handle it when you're comfortably in front? And then they come back. And then now just how do you put this away? Because you know this crowd is going to get loud. That top of that order is going to be coming up next inning.
That'll be 9-1-2 for Philadelphia on the way. McKinstry takes ball 4. Hey, look, it's a walk. We haven't seen one of those today. MLBshop.com has the largest and latest selection of jerseys, caps, hoodies, and accessories to keep you in the game all year long. Gear up, game on. MLBshop.com, the official online shop of the Tigers. First walk for either team is McKinstry here in the 8th, and it's the first Tigers walk of the series. Strike 1 to Dylan Dingler. I'm sure Andy Jacobson and the ESPN crew had that whole graphic built like Tigers walks this series. Now they're going to have to change the 0 to 1 for Sunday Night Baseball tomorrow. Sorry, AJ. Throw to first. Wasn't exactly the A move from Strom there.
No, just looking up that he's only given up a couple of stolen bases. 2 stolen bases.
Oh, 1. There he goes. McKinstry on the move, and he is safe at second base.
Zach McKinstry got just a little bit bigger lead than Wenzel did. He got right to the edge of that grass, right at that edge of that cutout, just enough that he was able to get in there safe, where Wenzel was on the replay was called out, and just enough that hand got in there. Same kind of tag, but just that little bit more of that lead, maybe about 6 inches, maybe a foot, right to that cutout, enabled him to get safe.
Career high 17 steal in a year for Zach McKinstry. He had exactly 16 2 years running. He's cleared that on the 2nd of August. One. He was wandering pretty far off second on that pitch as well.
Big secondary.
That's jam foul on a cutter, 2-2. Strom was ready this time. Dingler uses his timeout.
And Strom was paying all that attention to Zach McKinstry, not sure that he knew that Dylan Dingler had called timeout. Then Vic Carapazio at second base umpire just threw his hands up, and I think Strom, that's when he saw it and said, oh, okay.
2-2. Fouled back. You know, it's interesting that the 2 deadline moves that drew the most interest in the bullpen for each of these teams. You have Kyle Finnegan, who shows up from Washington in Philadelphia's division. You have Joan Duran showing up from Minnesota in the Tigers division. They come back to face teams who've seen them just about as often as anybody in all of Major League Baseball, just setting the stage for a possible Finnegan close job today. Duran and the Tigers have a history. Finnegan and the Phillies have a history. It's always intriguing how those trade wins are going to blow.
And how it works out that way.
3-2 for Dingler. Another foul ball.
Yeah, you see Kyle Finnegan out there, that last shot, just starting to kind of just get his body loose, just knows the situation. I'm sure, those butterflies are starting to churn a little bit. All right, I know what's going on. Will Vest is going in. He's got the 8th, and they're going to call my name to put that fire out in 9th.
Hopefully the Phillies forget their flint. 3-2. Another foul ball.
Boy, Dylan Dingler refusing to give in. Just wants this base hit so bad. Just fighting. Expanded the strike zone a few pitches ago, trying to just slash at anything, just trying to whatever he can to get that run in.
9th pitch of the sequence will lead to a 10th pitch. Half of them, if the 10th one isn't, half will be foul balls for Dingler against Strom, who's only seen 4 hitters and thrown 23 pitches. McKinstry at second, 2 out. Ball 4, what a standoff. Dylan Dingler waits out Strom, and after 2 walks, we'll see if Javi Baez, number 1, sees a first pitch strike as he did in the 7th, and number 2, if he does the same thing with it as he did in the 7th.
Yeah, here's that home run from Javi. He saw a fastball the last time, the previous at-bat before that home run, and was sitting on that one. Going out to be really careful to talk this one over.
First 66 trips to the plate in this series, no walks. Last 2 trips to the plate, 2 walks. Baseball turns on a dime yet again. And Javi Baez, who has really hit left-handers well this year. The organ here was playing I Need a Hero. And we'll see whether or not the Tigers are holding out for a hero. Whether this game will go through the end of the night. 5-3 in the 8th. 2 on, 2 out. First one is no dice, ball 1. I didn't figure he'd throw him a pipe shot on the first pitch.
I was thinking you better watch the first pitch to Javi, because you know that he's going to come out of his shoes swinging at that if it was any near close, and it wasn't close.
One out. That was the swing. If you throw him a first pitch strike, it's a ball and a strike on Baez.
But look at Javi's movement, just too, how he's just rocking and just, making sure he is good and loose. Not standing in there kind of stiff. Those hands are rocking, the shoulders, and just twitching, making sure that body is moving. He looks nice and loose, and then that pitch is getting delivered, cocks it, ready to go.
When you look at where Javi has been successful against lefties, just about anything elevated, anything belt and above, he has been murder to left-handers. Strom is staying below the zone, 1-2.
And that's that pitch that, you see him from right-handers or left-handers, that elevated fastball. He swings at it. He likes it. Sometimes he connects like he did off a Wheeler. Other times, not.
1-2 from Strom. A lengthy inning for him. Javi lays off, 2-2.
Looked like Realmuto wanted that one up, too. Started to get out of that crouch, standing up.
Two and two. On the ground. That is fair, hugging the line. Here comes McKinstry. Dingler gets waved in by Joey Cora. Javi headlong for third. He's in there. Two-run run triple, Javi Baez.
Got that slider down and in, right over the bag, and watch this funny bounces that it takes down that left field line. Almost hits the stands and then rolls around for a bit out there. Dylan Dingler motoring around third base. Not messing around to come in to score another two big runs. What an answer back. Javi sees that right in front of him.
The umpires are talking this over. The ball got caught underneath the wall over there. And so they're going to talk over whether or not this should be a double. Watch the ball here. The protocol is for the outfielder to throw up his hands. It goes ringing around down in that corner, and it sticks. It's still spinning, however. Weston Wilson does go in to play it, though. And so if I don't know what he did before that moment, but if he doesn't wave for that, I don't know that they grant it here.
Right. But that wasn't lodged underneath, though. It looked like it spun out and came out onto the warning track.
So it's going to be a triple. Rob Thompson is going to make a pitching change. And wow, the Tigers behind Javi Baez have added on at a big time against Philadelphia in the eighth. The last couple of innings, the Tigers bouncing back with 5 runs in the last 2 innings, just like Philadelphia did yesterday. And Jordan Romano, the former Toronto Blue Jay, is on to face Colt Keith, who grounds this ball to second. Sosa by a nose. That all started with 2 out and nobody on. 2 walks, Baez triple. There's a Here in the 8th. And before we go any further on Vest, this note from Sarah Langs, outstanding researcher of Major League Baseball and all-around great person. The most outings with 10-plus strikeouts and no walks in a season in the last 125 years is Garrett Cole in 2019. He had 7 of them. That's double-figure strikeouts, no walks. There's a line drive to center, and that is a base hit for Marsh, the pinch hitter, to lead off the inning. To finish the story quickly before we get to Turner, Skubal and Wheeler both did it today. 10 strikeouts, no walks. They both have 6 this year, and it's August. So 2 more of those for either guy, and it's the most in baseball in 125 seasons. That's how unique what we saw today is. And now the matter at hand, the finish line. Trey Turner takes strike 1.
Yeah, it's just like they just do not go away. They just, just when you punch back after they get that 3 spot to go up 7-3, Brandon Marsh comes up, gets that base hit, flip the lineup over.
And it's like it was passed down like through a will. The 2008 team that they celebrated in the Wall of Fame ceremony yesterday had 8 walk-offs in this ballpark in 81 games that year when they won the World Series. This team just puts intense pressure on you late in games, and that is why they opened play today in first place by half a game over the Mets. 1-2, Turner takes, and they've won in strange ways. Do not forget that on July 21st, the Edmundo Sosa catcher's interference walked off a game against the Red Sox in this building. So there has been bizarre stuff. 2-2, he wipes out Turner against a mean sinker from Vest.
Yeah, look at the movement on this, down and in. Trey Turner got a 4-seam fastball in last night's ball game out over the plate and lashed it into right field for a base hit. And this time Will Vest says, you're not going to get that off of me again. I'm going to flip the script on you and give those sinkers on the inside part of the plate. And he got Trey Turner to strike out.
Now Schwarber, who can't pull the trigger on what's called ball 1. Two strikeouts against Skubal for Schwarber. And one of the plays of the game, Riley Green rescuing the shutout at that point on a Schwarber ball into foul ground in the 6th inning down the left field line. Riley just threw his body off a slide into the baseball to make the catch. Throw on Marsh. Riley taking a moment to himself, now locking in. 1-1. Fouled away. Back to the 6th inning. Full starfish.
Look at that. Yeah, that was that hat. I thought his head hit the ground when he went down there, but his hat fell off.
Tell you what, Kyle Schwarber just hit a foul ball into the same section twice in a row, back and left.
Same person got it?
They're just next door. Same place, though. Same area. You need consistency late in the season. Swing and a miss. No contact there. That slider is why Will Vest is so hard on left-handers.
You know what? And I was watching this very carefully at this at-bat because in yesterday's game, Kyle Schwarber got a slider that was up, and he lashed it into right field. Will Vest did not shy away from going to that slider. Just said, you know what? I didn't throw a good one in that situation last night. That's the one that's made him successful, that back foot slider to the left-handers.
Harper didn't go. Had that been called a swinging strike, who knows what would have happened. Bryce Harper was thrown out on an appeal to third last night after taking a step, and Bryce acknowledged after the game that that was not the best way to handle the situation. He was thrown out appealing an appeal. Second base umpire today, Vic Carapazza, was the one who threw him out. 2-0. Harper launches it foul. Former home run derby champ Bryce Harper. Cleveland, by the way, is tied at 4 with Minnesota in the bottom of the 8th inning. Both teams without their closer to start the year. Duran here, Clase suspended for the time being. 2-1. Harper lifts it left center field. Bierling can only watch. Seven to 5.
Well, that slider just out over the plate. Bryce Harper goes with it, but he is locked in. Those last two at-bats, that at-bat he had against Tarek Skubal, the single in that 7th inning, the concentration on his face, the concentration on that at-bat also, I mean, completely locked in right on that baseball. Got that slider out over the plate, didn't miss it. Man, those last two at-bats are very impressive by Bryce Harper.
He's one of the best players on the planet.
Yeah.
And he has been for years.
You just look at his eyes, just the intensity in his eyes and how locked in he is on each pitch.
Foul of third, 2 strikes on Real Muto. Last night, 4 runs, 3 earned against the Tigers bullpen. Today, the 2-run homer for Harper against Vest, and Kyle Finnegan getting ready for his first show as a Tiger. Likely the 9th. But first, Real Muto prods this into right. A 2-strike single for the Phillies catcher.
Fastball. This year, I just counted 4 times that Kyle Finnegan has gone an inning or more. So in his Tiger debut, is going to ask to save this game and have to pitch an inning and a third.
Yeah, it'd be 4 outs as he throws a strike on Castellanos. He starts him with the surprise slider. Finnegan in his career has pitched against Philadelphia 33 times. He's got a 5.81 against Philly, 8 saves against this team, but they know him, he knows them, and at least familiarity in ballpark and opponent to start his Tigers career.
That last pitch was the split finger, well located, and does what A.J. Hinch is going to love, getting ahead 0-2, winning that race to 2 strikes.
It's a high fastball. It's 1-2 on Castellanos.
And you can't blame him for being a little bit yet. It looks really cool on the outside, but you know that he's fired up on the inside. Tried that 4-seamer at the top of the strike zone at 97. That's right where he sits.
1-2. He was born in Detroit, grew up in Texas. Kyle Finnegan, year number 6 in the big leagues, and he has been very reliable for Washington. Every year in his first 5, he was ERA plus over 110, which is a very good number. 1-2 to Castellanos. Guided on the ground to third. McKinstry throws him out and the inning is over. Finnegan, first checkpoint hit. He keeps the lead. Max Lazar is the new pitcher for Philadelphia. 26-year-old right-hander in his 2nd season in the big leagues. Misses well inside to Torres.
Now, Lazar had all kinds of trouble in his last outing on Wednesday against the White Sox. Went just a third of an inning, gave up 6 runs on 7 hits.
Fly ball right field. Castellanos is camped. Here's a message from Rally House.
Play ball, Michigan. Shop the latest in Tigers.
One down, Matt Vierling, who had a hit, pinch hitting for Carpenter all the way back in the 7th. First 4 innings of this game took 58 minutes. We were cruising on a Saturday afternoon, and then things like that happened. Became a 3-legged pinball machine.
Say, yeah, that's more like reminiscent of what happened the last outing.
And then he corrects to the very top of the zone. It's a ball and a strike. One. Foul, third base side. A ball and 2 strikes from Lazar to Vierling. Philadelphia in the 9th will have Bader, Kemp, and Sosa scheduled. They do have 2 lefties and a switch hitter on the bench, so we will see what Rob Thompson decides to do. That's a good fastball. Lazar hauls off at 94 to strike out Vierling, and 2 away.
Yeah, perfectly placed 4-seamer right on that outside corner. Matty V just couldn't pull the trigger. Thought maybe it just was off the edge. Good pitch from Lazar.
First one to Riley Green. Pops out of the handball 1. Cleveland's taken the lead on Minnesota 5-4. The Mets lead San Francisco 8-4 in the 7th as Riley rolls over to second base, and Sosa and 3 outs to get for the Tigers, trying to level this series. Finnegan back. First one is downstairs. Kyle Finnegan's first save of his major league career was in this ballpark. It was one of those 7-inning doubleheader games in the halcyon days of 2021. It was July the 29th, so not far away from exactly 4 years ago to the day. A 3-1 victory for the Nationals over Philadelphia. Kyle Finnegan got his first major league save as a visitor behind Max Scherzer. The starting pitcher for Philadelphia that day, in a bit of kismet and full circle feel, was Zach Wheeler. Wheeler threw a complete game, but the Nationals got the victory, and Finnegan had a 1-2-3 7th inning to close the door. It's 3-1 on Bader here. The tying run is on deck. Three balls and a strike. Leadoff batter of the ninth. It's a ground ball to shortstop. Baez got him one down.
Boy, you just see that being very careful to Bader, falling behind 3-1, and just challenged him with that fastball. Said, enough of that throwing splitters and sliders. I'm going after it with my money pitch. That fastball got that first out. Just try to keep this crowd quieted. Don't let anybody get on, especially that big first out.
They'll go with Kemp here. Bryson Stott has a bat on deck. We do have a couple lefties still remaining, and there is strike one. It's a slider dancing away from Kemp, who struck out twice against Skubal. Oh and 1. In the air, foul, first base side, 0-2. By the way, one more note from Sarah Langs. Tarek Skubal in his career has 8 games of 10 strikeouts, no walks.
But that's 6 this year.
Yeah, that's the most in Tigers history.
Wow.
Already. Stott on deck. 2 strikes on Kemp. From Finnegan. It's a ball and 2 strikes. It's a swing and a miss on a splitter that dives below Kemp's bat. First strikeout as a Tiger for Finnegan.
Boy, you could just see the relaxation in that at-bat, much more fluid, and look at the drop on that split finger. That's a good split finger from Kyle Finnegan. He took that pitch clock all the way down as close as he could, just taking his sweet time, letting Otto Kemp think about it a little bit. Let him get a little bit anxious, then pull the string with that splitter.
Now Bryson Stott. Base is empty. First pitch rips the zone. A fastball, 0-1.
Get that first out, and now all of a sudden you've got that little bit of freedom in you. You want to just don't want to make any get that little bit of nervousness, that little anxiousness in your stomach. Now he's throwing free and easy.
Ball and a strike on Stott. Bottom of the order here. That's number 8, Stott. The number 9 hitter, Marsh, next. Hope to make him wait for tomorrow. Thank you very much. No. Really close.
Boy, you see that good movement again. You know, that's going to pair really nice with that four-seam fastball, 96, 97, out of that same slot, and then have that dive down.
2-1. High in the air, left-hand side. Riley Green is underneath, and Kyle Finnegan has his first Tigers save. It comes against Philadelphia, and the Tigers, behind a barrage of home runs, 4 of them, and a triple from Javi Baez, have evened the series at a game apiece.
Boy, just 7 strong innings from Tarek Skubal once again, just kind of saying, all right, guys, I know we lost last night. Jump on my back. I'll get you as far as I can. And good for Kyle Finnegan coming in here doing exactly what they wanted to. Not easy getting those 4 final outs in a tough ballpark to get a win.
But exactly what you'd ask for somebody coming over to a new team. There was no stress.